Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony will begin in 5 minutes. Please take your seats. At this time, I would like to remind you to turn off all cell phones and other electronic devices that may interrupt the ceremony. Thank you. afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 2025 Yale University and University of New Haven Joint Military Commissioning Ceremony. I am Cadet Zoe Duran, and I will be your Master of Ceremonies. We are gathered here to continue a tradition rooted in military history and custom. Today, 2 cadets will commission as second lieutenants in the United States Army. 3 candidates will commission as second lieutenants in the United States Marine Corps. 5 midshipmen will commission as ensigns in the United States Navy. 11 cadets will commission as second lieutenants in the United States Air Force. 2 cadets will commission as second lieutenants in the United States Space Force. These young men and women join the ranks of those in our armed services who have come before them. We would like to thank all of you gathered here today for supporting these new officers and for joining us for this momentous occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the national anthem and the invocation. Scott A. Strobel, Provost, Yale University. Kimberly M. Goff-Cruz, Secretary and Vice President for University Life at Yale University. Pericles Lewis, Dean of Yale College. Maytal Saltiel, Yale University Chaplain. Lieutenant Colonel Seth Allen, United States Army, Commander, Army ROTC, University of Connecticut. Colonel Les Oberg, United States Air Force, Commander, Air Force ROTC, Detachment 9, Yale University. Captain Bill Johnson, United States Navy, Commander, Naval ROTC, Yale University. Maury McInnes, President, Yale University. Today's honored guest and keynote speaker, Brigadier General Christopher Armrine, Commander, Air Force Accessions Center, and Commander, Air Force Recruiting Service, Joint Base San Antonio, Randolph, Texas. Please remain standing for the playing of the national anthem and the invocation. Chaplain Saltiel will now deliver the invocation.
Almighty God, whom we call on by many names, we are full of gratitude for all the gifts you have blessed us with, the ability to care for others, to pursue justice, to serve with purpose and mercy. We know today is both a blessing and a burden. We in this chapel are filled with anticipation and apprehension of the duties and responsibilities we impart on these young souls. May they live lives of service and honor, exemplifying a sense of duty and respect in all that they do. May they embody both pride and humility. Compassionate God, be with them as they embark on this call. Provide them with wisdom and good judgment. Fill them with courage and commitment. May we, your children of many traditions, be blessed by your shimmering light as you have blessed all of creation on this day and all days, as we say, amen.
Please be seated. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2025 Military Commissioning Ceremony. This ceremony represents a milestone in the lives of these young men and women who are being commissioned as officers here today. It marks their entry into the armed forces of the United States of America. Their dedication demonstrates a commitment to the preservation of peace in an ever-changing world. Their responsibility to serve as leaders and sacrifice for their country begins today. At this time, I would like to welcome Colonel Les Oberg, Commander of Air Force ROTC at Yale University, to the podium.
All right, good afternoon, I should say almost evening. Ladies and gentlemen, midshipmen, cadets, Yale faculty and staff, members of the Army, Navy, and Air Force ROTC cadre, friends, and perhaps most importantly, families, welcome to the 2025 Yale University Joint Commissioning Ceremony. It's been quite a year where our ROTC students shined, the ROTC staffs excelled, and I personally, well, I learned a lot. But nothing more so than that Maren McInnes is the president this university needed. Ma'am, not only have you already navigated Yale through turbulent waters, it's a Navy reference, but for us, you've been a mentor, a champion, and an example of what savvy, effective leadership looks like. Thank you so much for being here today. Provost Strobel. Provost Strobel, one thing that was very apparent to me over the past year is that, man, you bleed Yale blue. There is no doubt about it. Your commitment to this university is above and beyond. And I'm not sure if I'm in the minority, but I, for one, enjoyed your stories about spending COVID with your granddaughter, Nora. And just a thought, it's probably not too early to start thinking about her future. And I must say, the Air Force offers many great career opportunities and numerous scholarships to help with her education. Maybe something to consider. Seriously, just don't let her go Navy. That's a zing. There's many more zings where that one came from. Thanks for all you do for this university and our program. Secretary Goff Cruz, thank you for making Yale a place where anyone can strive, including these ROTC students and Yale's veteran community. We truly appreciate your attendance today as well. Dean Lewis, from invitations to Philharmonia and Glee Club concerts to a faculty day at the Yale-Princeton game and many initiatives in between, you've truly worked hard and creatively to team the Yale staff, and the effects have resonated. Thank you for creating such a positive and collegial Yale community. You're a true force multiplier, that's a Department of Defense term, for this university and for our program. Thank you so much. And Maytal, thank you for continually bringing it all home for us and for connecting our events to a higher purpose and meaning. We also thank you for hosting us in this amazing chapel. I'd also like to extend our warmest welcome to Yale heads of colleges, deans, professors, and staff, as well as members and leaders of the Yale Veterans Association and Network. This year brought more successes to celebrate and challenges to overcome. And every step of the way, your patience and leadership made a difference. Thank you. I would also like to welcome our guests from the University of Connecticut, University of New Haven, as well as members from our Air Force ROTC partner universities, Quinnipiac, Southern Connecticut State, Sacred Heart, Wesleyan, Fairfield, and Western Connecticut. Your efforts to support and improve our program and the lives of your students who participate have a significant and positive impact, and we are truly grateful. And where would our programs be without the efforts of Dean Risa Sodi, who must have spent every weekend fixing our blunders, mainly Navy ones, that's number 2, but perhaps a few Air Force ones sprinkled in every now and then as well. Thanks for taking all the difficult things we've thrown at you and always finding a way to success. We are appreciative beyond words. And to Holly Hermes and Becky Tynan, your efforts simply make our programs better, and we owe you many, many, many beverages for your extraordinary and continual support. Thank you both for your friendship, mentorship, and guidance. I would also like to thank Professors Paul Kennedy and my partner in crime, Ted Wittenstein, who are in attendance today. Professor Kennedy was a pioneer in integrating ROTC curriculum with established Yale courses, and integral to our return to campus over a decade ago. No doubt both Professor Kennedy and Ted will continue to shape the future of our classwork and help us better prepare cadets for their challenging futures. Thank you both for your advice, your partnership, and your willingness to take risks with us. A special thanks to Tom Duffy and the quartet, which you will hear throughout today's ceremony. And if I may, Mr. Duffy and his team have always been at every single ceremony and done an amazing job. And for whatever reason, I always miss him afterwards to thank him and give him one of my coins, and I'd just like to do that real quick right now. I would also like to commend Cadets Zoe Duran, Dylan Hunt, Tricia Neely, Liz Villadaki, I hope I pronounced that correctly, Major Nathan Lucchini, and all of our other cadet and cadre members who are the brains and muscle behind today's ceremony. You knocked it out of the park. Now on to the class of 2025. If each of you could do me a favor, I know it's not in the script, I apologize, but please stand up. Go ahead. Now, find your friends and family in the audience and give them a big round of applause. Awesome, thank you. To the families of our graduates, your support, oh, you guys can sit down, sorry. Yeah, that's all good, it's all good. To the families of our graduates, your support, love, encouragement, and occasional finger wagging were the driving forces behind the success of these ROTC students. Though young, they are leaders with empathy, character, and drive. And there's no doubt that's a direct result of your influence and dedication to their well-being. Thank you all for what you have done to build these military leaders. And to the graduates, this is a day of speeches. And well, you're about to get a couple more. And when recalling my own commissioning a few years back, I have no recollection of what my professor of aerospace sciences had to say. Sorry, Colonel Rozak. But even at the risk of saying something very forgettable, I want to leave you with this, an answer to a question that was posed a few weeks back, because I finally figured out my answer. In early April, we took a field trip to Westfield Air National Guard Base. Shout out to the 104th. To end the day, which included touring F-15 operations, maintenance groups, and other base organizations, we ended it with an officer panel where cadets could ask about life in the Air Force. One cadet asked a good question at the end of the panel. What's the most important lesson senior NCOs taught you as a young officer? The panel absolutely crushed the answer, but the whole time I thought to myself, I have no idea what I would say right now, and I'm really glad I'm not up there. But just 12 days later, it hit me. And today, I'd like to share with you my answer to that question. So let me take you back to the year 2000, when I was stationed at Misawa Air Base in Japan. I was in charge of a flight of approximately 100 airmen, and we were recalled to pull an extra 12-hour mid-shift, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So we roll in, a little disgruntled, that we're gonna miss one of our cherished days off. And as usual, right, I met with my two senior NCOs on the flight to start the shift. I believe the first words out of my mouth as we met were not about how everyone was coping with the extra duty, or about whether everyone was able to find childcare, or even if everyone had shown up. Instead, my first words to them were about how I needed to leave early, if not on time, because I had something to do the next day. Don't even recall what it was. And almost in unison, they said to me, and my answer to that question, and the words I leave with you today are this: it's not about you. And I think this is a great thing to keep in mind as you begin your military journeys, because it's not about you. It's about the Constitution. As General Mark Milley put it, we are unique amongst the world's militaries. We don't take an oath to a country. We don't take an oath to a tribe. We don't take an oath to a religion. We don't take an oath to a king. We take an oath to the Constitution and the idea that is America. It's not about you. It's about the mission. A mission that has been honed, modified, refined, and improved over many years. And it is now your responsibility to dutifully execute and improve. It's not about you, it's about the people. It's about every single person that will be so privileged to serve, care for, and lead. And what do I ask you to pull from my story of 2 senior NCOs putting me in my place? I think there are a few things, like, man, Colonel Oberg looks really good for being so old. Or, wow, if you ask Colonel Oberg a hard question, it'll take him just 12 days to get back to you. But ultimately, I ask you to take away that your service is about many things, but it's not about you. Please keep that in mind as you begin your careers. I know I've kept it in mind ever since that day in Massawa. But today is about you, which is cool. Your commitment to this great nation and your significant academic accomplishments are being celebrated. And to help us celebrate, we are joined by Brigadier General Chris Amrine, Commander of the Air Force Accession Center and the Air Force Recruiting Service. In this capacity, he oversees the Air Force and Space Force's largest officer accession sources, the Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps, the Reserve Officer Training Corps, as well as the Officer Training School and enlisted accession sources. He leads over 6,000 military and civilian personnel responsible for training and leadership development of over 98,000 cadets across over 1,000 global locations, and assessing more than 45,000 individuals each year. Additionally, General Amrine oversees the Warrant Officer Training School, which graduates up to 120 specialized experts annually. General Amrine entered the Air Force in 1996 after earning his commission as a distinguished graduate of the ROTC program at the University of Texas at Austin. And he served in operational training assignments, logging more than 3,200 hours in a variety of aircraft, as well as commanding at the squadron and wing levels. Operationally, he has served in 5 geographic combatant command regions, including contingency operations in Bosnia, Kosovo, Iraq, Afghanistan, Mali, and Syria. It's been a pleasure getting to know General Amrine and his wife, Kathy, today. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Brigadier General Amrine.
Here. So bear with me, every podium has a different height. I have found as I turned north of 50 that 16 font extra bold normally gets me through without the cheaters, but it depends on how far that is. So with this one, I'm going with the cheaters today. Man, this is unbelievable. There are certain things that I've had the opportunity to do, especially as the accessions commander. And one of those is bringing new airmen, new guardians, new sailors, soldiers, and Marines into our armed forces. And today we have that opportunity, and we get to do it by those most near and dear to us, both those that educated you, developed you, and then those that raised you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for taking time today to join us and celebrate this joint commissioning ceremony here at Yale University. It is my honor and privilege to be with you here today. For Yale's distinguished leadership that we heard, let me just say thank you. This is my first time on the campus. Everywhere we went, and I got a great walking tour today, I was just blown away at the support and just the class that's on this campus. So I just would like to say thank you again for all the support to our ROTC programs that are here. Thank you very much. Yeah, go ahead, come on. Walking these grounds today, where so many influential leaders have also once walked, I'm sure you're aware that Yale is the second leading university in the nation for claiming U.S. presidents as alumni. There are 5 so far. Also hailing from Yale are Supreme Court justices, leaders in the fields of law, science, business, politics, and military service. There are 6 Medal of Honor recipients from Yale University. Some very notable military figures in U.S. history, ranging from Stanley McChrystal, General Stanley McChrystal, to obviously Nathan Hale. They were all sitting where you are at one point. You have before you the opportunity to go into the world, do everything for the first time, and finding ways to make our military and our nation better. Learn from their legacies, and now it's time to create your own. Now, you might be wondering how long I'll be up here standing. I remember when I was a brand new cadet about to become a lieutenant, between how much I have to speak and how much time till you get to actually get out and celebrate. And as Colonel Oberg said, it's not about you, but today it is about you. It's about you, it's about your families. I won't take too long. I have 3 main points, a couple thank yous. I have 1 order to give, and I expect it to be followed. Thank you. The first is, your learning is not complete. It's a journey. Learn more. Soon you will have the opportunity to meet people from all ranks and all walks of life who have a wealth of knowledge to offer. I ask you to be willing to learn from them every step of the way. There is always something more to learn. One of the things you can do for yourself when you get to your first assignment is to find a senior non-commissioned officer and ask them to mentor you. Seek their counsel. It will help you professionally, personally, and it will also help build trust and cohesion in your organization. The second, always do your best. John Gordon, a Navy SEAL, said, when you are under pressure, you don't rise to the occasion, you sink to the level of your training. You must train well and do your best. You must learn from your mistakes and learn how to avoid them in the future. You must take your experiences and use them to make you smarter, stronger, and more resilient. Some decisions will be at lower stakes, but when it comes to the ones that are life or death, your best will be the only option. Take every learning opportunity seriously, because you never know when you will need to rely on your training. I remember shortly after being commissioned, I went straight to pilot training. It was a 13-month program, and when I graduated from that program, I walked across the stage to get my wings. The presiding officer was the wing commander, Colonel Gary Winterberger, and he said to me, "Chris, congrats. Don't be surprised if you find yourself flying in combat within a year." This was late 1997. The U.S. was not at war with anyone, nor did it seem likely we would be in a war in the immediate future. Regardless, it was incumbent upon me to try my hardest, train well, and be ready if called upon. On April 2nd, 1999, I pushed the throttles up to max power as I took off on my way to the skies over Kosovo for my very first combat mission. This nation is trusting you to do your best every single day and to be ready in its time of need. You never know when that may happen. Colonel Winterberger said a year. It was 18 months. He wasn't off by much. The third, practice the language of champions. This is a term that many mentors will often or hopefully use with you throughout your career. Practicing the language of champions is where the they, we, and us are always more important than the I or the me. The team deserves the credit for the successes and achievements, and as the leader of your unit, or even the organization one day writ large, you own the shortcomings and the mistakes of your people. Also commonly said, another way, you pass on the credit and you own the failures. Today, you will join the ranks of thousands of patriots, past and present, who all believe that our Constitution and protecting the United States citizens' rights and liberties were worth defending. You stand on the shoulders of giants. You have chosen a career of legacy and honor and have the opportunity before you to make your mark in the world. I challenge you all to really reflect upon your personal leadership philosophy. What do you want your legacy to be? How will you affect change within your sphere of influence? You are all entering into the world's most lethal and greatest military. We have the best technologies, but we also have the best people. Your job will be to lead those people. Do not take that lightly. Today's environment requires us to be laser focused on being prepared and ready to defend land, sea, and air dominance, ready to ensure air and space superiority, ready to build a force capable of competing, deterring, and if required, fighting and winning our nation's wars. You are joining our service at a time when global security challenges are evolving at an unprecedented pace. Our nation faces increased threats in the land, air, sea, space, and cyberspace domains. The need for leaders who are innovative, capable, and disciplined has never been greater. I have the full confidence that your training up to this point has laid that foundation for those exact qualities. The challenges are real and they are significant, but you are uniquely prepared for them. You are our future. To the parents and loved ones in the crowd, thank you for trusting us with that who is most dear to you. They are now amongst the 1% of Americans who have raised their right hand and offered to serve this great nation. That takes courage, selflessness, and heart, and I can promise you that we will do our very best to take care of them as we welcome them into our joint family. As they prepare to take the oaths in just a few minutes, I would ask you to let those words sink in. Freedoms. In closing, today is an amazing day, one that you will never forget. Take the time to celebrate this significant milestone with your loved ones and friends. I have but one order to pass on. Within the next week, take a moment to write, not an email, not a text, write a thank you to everyone who has supported you to get here. That can be your parents, siblings, peers, and imagine for each of you some of the members of this institution, the ROTC cadre, and others that had an impact to make you successful. Take the time to say thank you for their commitment and investment into you. Thank you for committing to keep our nation the greatest nation in the history of the world. And I will say to the joint ROTC class of 2025, congratulations, welcome to the team, welcome home. Thank you.
Thank you, General Amrine. We sincerely appreciate you being here with us today. At this time, I would like to welcome Maury McInnes, President of Yale University, to the podium.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for the warm welcome and for the invitation to take part in this very special Yale tradition for the first time for me as president. It is a true privilege to be here with you today at a moment that marks both a culmination and a new beginning. To our soon-to-be commissioned officers, today you join a long and illustrious line of Yale graduates who have exemplified our highest ideals of leadership and service. From the Revolutionary War through this very hour, generations of Yalees have served honorably in times of peace and peril and in moments of solidarity and strife. That proud tradition of service continues to thrive, embodied in each of you before me, Yale's next generation of leaders. And to our Eli Whitney veterans, who will be coined today, your service has already shaped the world in profound ways. You arrived at Yale with experiences forged in some of the most challenging circumstances, bringing perspectives and a high purpose that have enriched our campus. So in joining this community, you have strengthened it, reminding us daily what it means to serve, to sacrifice, and to improve the world today and for future generations. As I shared during our President's Review ceremony just a few weeks ago, I grew up seeing military service through the eyes of my father, who served as a Judge Advocate General in the Air Force. Through him, I witnessed firsthand the sense of duty and the quiet valor that defines those who wear the uniform. I also came to understand that true leadership is not necessarily measured by rank or recognition, but by responsibility, humility, and a deep commitment to a cause greater than oneself. That is, I believe, the essence of today's ceremony. Each of you has answered a calling that transcends personal ambition. And in doing so, you are now stewards of a legacy spanning centuries, joining generations of Yale alumni who have worn the uniform with courage, integrity, and honor. So on behalf of the entire Yale community, I want to thank you for your leadership and for your example. We are so deeply proud of you and equally grateful that you all will accomplish in service of the nation and the world. Thank you.
Thank you, President McInnes. Yale has a storied legacy of military service, and the interactions within the communities of student veterans, ROTC students, faculty, and staff bring something special to Yale's campus. We are lucky to be at an institution that trains and prepares students to serve in the military and trains and prepares veterans for leadership after military service as well. President McInnes continues the tradition of presenting the Yale President's Challenge coin. Each new lieutenant and ensign will receive a coin with their commissioning certificate later in the ceremony. But first, President McInnes will recognize newly graduated student veterans from Yale College. Chris Casper, please come forward. Chris Casper is representing his cohort of 4 graduating seniors who earned Yale College degrees following their enlistment and completion of their military service. A cryptologic linguist in the U.S. Marines, Chris graduated earlier today with a degree in philosophy from Yale College. Thank you for your service. Cadets and midshipmen, please take your places on the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the part of the ceremony for which these cadets and midshipmen have worked over the last 4 years, the oath of office. Please rise as the oath of office is administered by Brigadier General Christopher Amrine to those being commissioned as officers in the United States Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, and Space Force. be seated. Lieutenants in the first row, please step forward and join your families on the lower stage to pin on your new rank. Feel free to move about, take photos, and enjoy this moment. Now being pinned on by their families or loved ones, Second Lieutenant Skaggs, Second Lieutenant Stewart, Second Lieutenant Zola, Second Lieutenant Demersman, and Second Lieutenant Fan. Will the first row of lieutenants please be seated? Lieutenants in the second row, please step forward and join your families on the lower stage to pin on your new rank. Now being pinned on by their families or loved ones, Second Lieutenant Betancourt, Second Lieutenant Ellis, Second Lieutenant Hoagland, Second Lieutenant Johnson, Second Lieutenant Lloyd, and Second Lieutenant Lovejoy. Will the second row of lieutenants please be seated? Ensigns and lieutenants in the third row, please step forward and join your families on the lower stage to pin on your new rank. Now being pinned on by their families or loved ones, Ensign Smithson, Ensign Tanaka, Ensign Verich, Second Lieutenant Elastig, Second Lieutenant Bader. Will the third row of ensigns and lieutenants please be seated? Lieutenants and ensigns in the fourth row, please step forward and join your families on the lower stage to pin on your new rank. Now being pinned on by their families or loved ones, Second Lieutenant Ah, Second Lieutenant Jazwinski, Second Lieutenant Johnson, Second Lieutenant Kwong, Second Lieutenant Sung, Ensign Imhoff, and Ensign Romano. Lieutenants and ensigns, please be seated. General Amrine, President McInnes, Lieutenant Colonel Allen, Captain Johnson, and Colonel Oberg will now present the commissioning certificates and challenge coins to the new ensigns and second lieutenants. Second Lieutenant Johnny Aw. Second Lieutenant Aw is from Scottsdale, Arizona, and has graduated from Yale University with a degree in neuroscience. Second Lieutenant Aw will report to the Engineer Basic Officer Leadership Course at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Second Lieutenant John Jaswinski. Second Lieutenant Jaswinski is from Milford, Connecticut, and has graduated from Yale University with a degree in ecology and evolutionary biology. Second Lieutenant Jaswinski will go on to complete a graduate program at the University of Connecticut School of Dental Medicine. He will then report to the U.S. Army Dental Corps. Second Lieutenant Courtney Johnson. Second Lieutenant Johnson is from Cary, North Carolina, and has graduated from Yale University with a degree in Russian, East European, and Eurasian Studies. Second Lieutenant Johnson will report to the Basic School at Marine Corps Base Quantico, Virginia, and will serve as a Marine Corps officer. Second Lieutenant Evan Kwong. Second Lieutenant Kwong is from El Dorado Hills, California, and has graduated from Yale University with a degree in history. Second Lieutenant Kwong will report to the Basic School at Marine Corps Base Quantico, Virginia, and will serve as a Marine Corps officer. Second Lieutenant Andrew Sung. Second Lieutenant Sung is from Seoul, South Korea, and has graduated from Yale University with a degree in statistics and data science. Second Lieutenant Sung will report to the Basic School at Marine Corps Base Quantico, Virginia, and will serve as a Marine Corps officer. Ensign Victoria Imhoff. Ensign Imhoff is from Austin, Texas, and has graduated from Yale University with a degree in psychology. Ensign Imhoff will report as a surface warfare officer in San Diego, California. Ensign Jordan Romano. Ensign Romano is from Williston Park, New York, and has graduated from Yale University with a degree in applied mathematics. Ensign Romano will report as a submarine warfare officer at Joint Base Charleston, South Carolina. Ensign Victoria Smithson. Ensign Smithson is from Ashburn, Virginia, and has graduated from Yale University with a degree in Earth and Planetary Sciences. Ensign Smithson has been designated the Distinguished Midshipman Graduate for Yale University Navy ROTC. Ensign Smithson will report as a surface warfare officer at Naval Station Rota, Spain. Ensign Ashley Tanaka. Ensign Tanaka is from San Gabriel, California, and has graduated from Yale University with a degree in astrophysics. Ensign Tanaka will report as a submarine warfare officer at Joint Base Charleston, South Carolina. Ensign Sophia Verich. Ensign Verich is from Alexandria, Virginia, and has graduated from Yale University with a degree in molecular, cellular, and developmental biology. Ensign Verich will report as a naval aviator at Naval Air Station, Pensacola, Florida. Second Lieutenant Caitlin Adlasnig. Second Lieutenant Adlastig is from South Plainfield, New Jersey, and has graduated from Sacred Heart University with a degree in nursing. Second Lieutenant Adlasnig will report as a clinical nurse to Eglin Air Force Base, Florida. Second Lieutenant Eli Bader. Second Lieutenant Bader is from Kensington, Maryland, and has graduated from Yale University with a degree in physics. Second Lieutenant Bader will report as an intelligence officer to Otis Air National Guard Base, Massachusetts. Second Lieutenant Angel Betancourt. Second Lieutenant Betancourt is from Norwalk, Connecticut, and has graduated from the University of New Haven with a degree in psychology. Second Lieutenant Betancourt will report as a Nuclear and Missiles Operations Officer to Vandenberg Space Force Base, California. Second Lieutenant Asher Ellis. Second Lieutenant Ellis is from San Diego, California, and has graduated from Yale University with a degree in applied mathematics. Lieutenant Ellis has been designated an Air Force ROTC Distinguished Graduate, a distinction earned by the top 10% of cadets across the ROTC enterprise. Second Lieutenant Ellis will go on to complete a master's degree in computer science. He will then report as an intelligence officer to Intelligence Technical School, Goodfellow Air Force Base, Texas. Second Lieutenant Maxwell Johnson. Second Lieutenant Johnson is from Portland, Oregon, and has graduated from Yale University with a degree in political science. Second Lieutenant Johnson will report as an intelligence officer to Intelligence Technical School, Goodfellow Air Force Base, Texas. Second Lieutenant John Lloyd. Second Lieutenant Lloyd is from O'Fallon, Illinois, and has graduated from Yale University with a degree in physics. Second Lieutenant Lloyd will report as a pilot to undergraduate pilot training, Vance Air Force Base, Oklahoma. Second Lieutenant Joshua Lovejoy. Second Lieutenant Lovejoy is from Burke, Virginia, and has graduated from Yale University with a degree in computer science. Lieutenant Joshua Lovejoy will report as a Cyberspace Operations Officer to Cyberspace Initial Skills Training, Keesler Air Force Base, Mississippi. Second Lieutenant Belle Hoagland. Second Lieutenant Hoagland is from Washington, D.C., and has graduated from Yale University with a degree in Statistics and Data Science. Second Lieutenant Hoagland will report as an intelligence officer to Intelligence Technical School, Goodfellow Air Force Base, Texas. Second Lieutenant Colby Skaggs. Second Lieutenant Skaggs is from Los Angeles, California, and has graduated from Yale University with a degree in history, war and society. Second Lieutenant Skaggs will report as an intelligence officer to Otis Air National Guard Base, Massachusetts. Second Lieutenant Ellie Stewart. Second Lieutenant Stewart is from Coppell, Texas, and has graduated from Yale University with a degree in economics. Second Lieutenant Stewart will go on to complete a master's degree in data science. She will then report as an operations research analyst. Second Lieutenant Nathaniel Zola. Second Lieutenant Zola is from Washington, D.C., and has graduated from Wesleyan University with a degree in history. Second Lieutenant Zola will report as an intelligence officer to Intelligence Technical School, Goodfellow Air Force Base, Texas. Second Lieutenant Victoria Demersman. Second Lieutenant Demersman is from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and has graduated from Yale University with a degree in biomedical engineering. Second Lieutenant Demersman will go on to complete a master's degree in electrical engineering at the University of Texas at Austin. She will then report to Initial Qualification Training Course, Peterson Space Force Base, Colorado. Second Lieutenant Julie Fan. Second Lieutenant Fan is from Potomac, Maryland, and has graduated from Yale University with a degree in computer science. Second Lieutenant Fan will go on to report to the Initial Qualification Training Course, Peterson Space Force Base, Colorado. Thank you, General Amrine, President McInnes, Lieutenant Colonel Allen, Captain Johnson, and Colonel Oberg. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. I present to you the newest ensigns and second lieutenants of our United States Armed Forces. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of the Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, and Space Force service songs. Ladies and gentlemen, Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the joint commissioning ceremony. You are all cordially invited to a reception at the Elm City Club immediately following the ceremony. Flags will be set up outside Battell Chapel near Old Campus for those wishing to take first salute photos. You are also welcome to walk over to Beinecke Plaza for additional photo opportunities. Please remain standing for the departure of the official party and the United States military's newest ensigns and second lieutenants.